Where is it at, FGC? Where is it at? I don't see it. I mean, I see jerk chicken with magnolia sauce. I see chicken thighs and wild rice. I see apricot chicken. Let me skip here through the chicken section, get to the back. We have cranberry pork loin. We've got sweet and sour ribs. Hey, we got the best, and it says right here in the subtitle, the best cut of pork in a creamy, reduced fat gravy. Look, it's the best of the best, and it's dietary. But I still, to this day, look, I've looked through this book so hard. Pages have been falling out. Things have been vigorously ripping out of this book. It is crazy out here. But this is the best and favorite slow cooker recipes from the best of the best. And I still can't find it, FGC. You said I need to understand what that FG cuisine is. The fighting game cuisine. The FGC. The fighting game community's favorite dish. The bullshit souffle. And I have not been able to find it since day one, minute one. I have 10-0 matchup this book, and I still can't find the bullshit souffle, and I'm still looking forward to this very second. But we're going to put that on hold right now because I'm getting under the impression that the bullshit souffle doesn't exist, because I've seen you guys on stream just tearing it up, just eating all that BS souffle. We're going to call it the BSS. How about that? The BSS for an acronym, because the FGC likes acronyms, because the FGC, down ones, D1s, things of that nature. So let's just call it that and call it what it is, because as of late, the FGC has been tripping. And many of the people within the FGC have been tripping. Because let's just talk tournaments. Now, as we all know, tournament rules are to be abided by all players, and all players should be given equal footing amongst the tournament base. However, let's just walk you through a scenario. If you were hosting a tournament, and somebody was 2 hours late to the event, not even for the top 8 or the top 16, but for mere pools, the pools to decide your biggest event, the top 8, the top 16, and those matchups later on down the line, you would kind of want them to be on time, right? You know, maybe there's a 15, 20, maybe even 30-minute grace period for those people who just can't get into the gear and have a little bit of an issue. But if they were 2 hours late, you'd probably have to DQ them because, hey, guess what? We run a tight ship here and we don't play favorites. But player Chris G, top player considered by many, he shows up 2 hours late to pools. Now, he doesn't get the standard player treatment. He gets the TPT, the top player treatment. And with that said, he's allowed to get bumped into the loser's bracket. He, quote-unquote, just forfeits his winner's bracket match, and he drops into losers of pools, in which he was immediately bumped by Buttons, who I believe is like Hitbox Buttons. I don't really know his tag. But the point is, 2 hours late, and you were allowed to have a second chance period? Like, what? That makes no sense to me. Now, many people are saying, but it's Chris G. We have to see him play this game. We have to see him. He is an honor to have at our tournament, and we need to see him because he's just a staple in the FGC. And, you know, we shouldn't even be playing favorites. I mean, 2 hours late, I mean, there is no excuse. There really is no excuse. I know what some people are saying, well, he traveled all that way, he got there. Well, what if he was 3 hours late? How are we just going to say, hey, he's 3 hours late? What if he showed up the next day? See, like, can we rerun the brackets back? Like, well, I don't understand at what juncture this is going to continue, because we see this a lot in the FGC. We see a lot of people who are top players get their behavior excused tons of times. I mean, Noel Brown is still playing fighting games. I mean, we have a lot of people playing fighting games who have had bad behavior in the past, but we still reward it by saying, follow them on Twitter, oh, they're great, oh, the matches were hype, oh, did you see that, etc., etc., etc. We've seen many of the negatives go on in the FGC, and many of them I've covered on my channel. However, moving forward, you know, let's just talk about some other things about the FGC that I've noticed. A lot of people in the FGC have gotten this conception that a money match means that you are a better human being than your opponent. Like, two people who don't like each other, you know, typically they go out and, you know, they may have an argument, they may fight, they may do things like that. But in the FGC, we've tricked ourselves to be like, oh, I've inputted my digital signals better than you, good sir. Therefore, I am the real man, and you are nothing but a sniveling, little running-nosed bitch. And that's all she wrote. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. We'll have two players that have a beef, and all of a sudden, oh, I challenge you to a money match. And all of a sudden, that's when someone gets their wings, and someone gets their wings clipped, and somebody's a man, and someone's a sniveling little prepubescent boy. Like, I don't understand how we come to that logical conclusion. And some people say, oh, it's just characters that they're playing up, and that's fine, but let's just be fair here. The difference between wrestling and FGC is, in wrestling, everyone knows it's a joke. Everyone knows it's a character thing. Everyone knows that. But from the outside looking in on the FGC, y'all look like World Star Hip Hop Jr., alright? Y'all need to change yourself from the FGC to WSHH space JR dot. Because at this point, that's all we are. We see so many people acting like savages. We see so many people acting like ignorant buffoons. And apparently, that's just okay. Because we want to be on the lowest level and controlled at the lowest possible level. And the proof of that is we're not at MLG. And some people are going to say, what is your correlation with MLG and the FGC, Black Prion? Well, let's just be honest. SRK, Capcom Games, EVO is a very Capcom-orientated feel. Capcom is always the main event. They're the top dogs. They are the essential hive mind that keeps the quote-unquote FGC together. The Capcom community feels as though they are the adhesive that without, the rest of it just falls apart because they're not big enough to support themselves. And the reason why this is a bad thing is because, as we see time and time again, Capcom gets put on a pedestal way up here, untouchable, off camera, while everyone else fights for the scraps at the bottom of the table. And let's just call it spade a spade. It's a stupid philosophy. And we see it over and over and over again. And not too long ago, we had the issue with Capcom games getting, the top spots, and, games like Injustice being shoved under Dive Kick and being put at like 8 in the morning and 9 in the morning for their pools, which was kind of ridiculous. But hey, I'm not the tournament organizer, so that's not on me. But back to my point about MLG. EVO is a business, and it is run like a business, and it is obviously showcased as a business. And many people have believed at this point that it's not even really about the fighting game tournament. It's more of, all you other fighting games, get your stuff out of the way because it's now time for the Capcom Expo. Because the Marvel vs. Capcoms and the Street Fighter 4s, or whatever version of Street Fighter 4 we're going to be on in a few months, that's what we all really came to see, apparently. That's fine if that's what you want to say. That's fine if that's how you want to see it. All right, fine and dandy. But no ifs, ands, or buts. Once again, EVO is a business. And if MLG were to get back into the fold of hosting fighting game tournaments, the Capcom community, the people at SRK wouldn't like that because they would lose a lot of money. Some people may ask, how would they lose a lot of money? Well, for one, they'd have to put up bigger prize pots. And what do I mean by that? In MLG, when Mortal Kombat 9 was at MLG, I want you guys to know something. Everyone who was in top 8 got at least $1,000, 10 Benjamin Franklins, a solid stack, a wad of cash that could buy them 2 Xbox Ones, just for getting 8th place, because the prize pool was over 30 grand. When do you see that happen at any of these other fighting game tournaments? Don't worry, I'll wait. Let me go look for the BS Souffle one more time while I wait. You guys, hey, you come up with anything? I didn't think so. And I didn't find the BS Souffle either. But continuing on, you get more money at these MLG events. You see more people getting involved in these MLG events just because of the professionalism that is shown. You don't have to worry about the whackness, the drama, all the garbage you hear about these candid EVO stories that apparently break the rule of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. We see a lot of things coming out of the FGC, coming out of the woodwork after EVO time. Remember the Dark Guyver story? I mean, hell, we see people popping off, yelling at each other, getting quote-unquote physical because it got a little bit too real for them, a little hot under the collar at EVO, because apparently that's when you're supposed to beat your chest. You won't have any of that at MLG because MLG runs a pretty tight ship. I mean, let's be honest. Have you seen how it's filmed? I mean, many of you people out there in the FGC say, FGC is just wrestling persona, so we're just going to run with a wrestling analogy. The way MLG looks like a WWE pay-per-view, while most of these other fighting game tournaments out there in the FGC look like a mid-card TNA ship. That's right. Mid-card TNA. That's the different levels we're talking here. One's way up here by the ceiling, way off camera, and the other one's down in the story below, my basement. That's right, folks. Getting real testy now, isn't it? The waters are starting to rock. Many of you who are with me are now like, whoa, Prion, I think you're going a little too far, but I don't think I've gone far enough, really, so let's continue this little thing here. So, MLG gives more money. There's more than one a year. And it allows many other people a chance to get more money. Since there's more than one of them. So what does that mean for Evo? There's a lot of people who won't be going to Evo because they could just go win more money at any of these other MLG events than they would have at Evo. There are definitely much more professional individuals running MLG than there are running any of these other fighting game tournaments, and that does include Evo. But Capcom knows. Capcom community knows. They would be losing money because they don't get to have that sense of control. They don't get to keep their max CPM streams because MLG streams their own event. They keep their own events to themselves. They may allow some other people to stream under them, but they have a lot of equipment out there that many of these streamers will not have any experience using and may have to take a class just to get the permit to use them for a day, let alone stream for the whole duration of the event. So many of the streamers involved, like Spooky and them, they will probably lose some of their streaming revenue due to the fact that they will not be streaming as often because they won't be streaming at MLG. They know that many people won't be coming out to EVO because of the aforementioned MLG events, so things are going to be a lot smaller. People aren't going to be registering in the droves that you saw, and many games like Skullgirls and them may have such small and minuscule numbers that you may not even have tournaments for them anymore at EVO. Because, like I said, a lot of people out there see EVO as kind of like, get your stuff out of the way, other games, because now it's time for the main event, the Capcom Expo, where you have whatever reiteration of Street Fighter 4 or whatever's out there, and then you have your Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and you call it a day, pack it up, and go home because that was the main event, and woo-woo, rah-rah-ree, yay, and all things of that nature. So, as we've seen, why does the fighting game community, and mostly Capcom side, not accept MLG? Why is that not a thing? Why? That's all I want to know. I mean, there was an article not too long ago that was kind of throwing shots back and forth, so I just want to know, why are we not at MLG making more money than we do now? Is it because we want to have this hipster mentality, or we want to be the underground community? Which is it? Do we want to keep things homegrown and grassroots, or do we actually want to move up? Or are we good where we're at? We want to stay in the low tier of the gaming phenomenon. Like, you tell me, fighting game community, you tell me. And when you do, I'll still be looking for it. I really will. It's a fascinating read. I just can't find the souffle that was recommended to me by many of you. And the last thing I want to talk about is a little moral conduct that I've noticed, and this was an event that has happened on Test Your Might. Now, I'm not going to drop any names because many of the people who are on Test Your Might, who will see this video, will know what and who I am talking about. And the people who don't know, I don't need you to go asking these people what's going on because you probably don't know them. But with that said, there was a person who went to Kumite, the tournament in Tennessee, and they got stranded along the way to getting there. So obviously, when you're stranded and you're stuck and you really ain't got nothing to do, you ask for help. Now, this guy asked the community for help, asked for a couple of donations, but one person decides to take the time out of the day to drive down and help this man. Help this man! And maybe he got a few donations there. But the community shows that there is good in the FGC. There is good and greatness in the FGC. And I will not say that there is no good in the FGC. That is a lie. We've seen good charity work and good things coming out of the FGC. We've seen it time and time again. But as a whole, as a community, we've got a lot of growing up to do, and that's for damn sure. But this man drove all the way to help this man out. Gets into the tournament. All good and gravy. Everybody does good. Now, this guy who got stuck, thanks everybody, congratulates everybody, everybody's good. Everybody's knuckled up, dapped up, all good, high fives, low fives all around, crazy handshakes with the snap at the end all around. So, a couple months later, even though it wasn't really a couple months, actually, okay, I'll say it was a couple months. Guy gets stuck again, but he's visiting someone way across the country. I mean, I'm talking about the farthest state you could possibly think of from Georgia. Way over. Gets stuck way out there, right? Asks for donations again. Now, don't get me wrong. I've heard this. I heard the scenario. It was one of those things you couldn't predict. It was one of those things that you literally just you couldn't make out. It's one of those things that's just so hard to believe. It's kind of It's kind of like, wow, really? Like, you have the worst luck. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. Sometimes people do have the worst luck, and he asks for donations again. Gets the donations, finds a way back. However, many of the people just don't understand that things like this happen. Because remember now, guys, there's a thing about personal life, and we play video games here. Video games. Yeah, people are taking shots at this guy like, if you've got funny money, you shouldn't be taking vacations. If you're just going to take advantage of us, you're nothing but a garbage, filthy heathen. Man, and you don't understand how to live life if your money's so garbage. You can't even plan a trip right. Dude, there's no excuses. You're just horrible. And it's like, the guy's under fire, and you guys don't even know what the situation is. And even after this person posted in the forum what the situation was, people didn't read that. People just assumed that he was just taking money and embezzling it in some sort of Ponzi scheme and just jerking off with the cash and just, oh, Benjamin Franklin, nice face you got there. And that's all it was. And people just throwing the man under the bus. However, this guy, I don't know the whole story. But as far as I'm concerned, from what I know, he is not completely innocent. Because there's a little thing with that moral compass that I got where it was kind of iffy. And if it's kind of iffy, that probably means it's not on the up and up. Because the people who have helped him on both occasions have not been reimbursed yet. However, one of the people that called him out and pretty much said, hey, man, you're just ripping off the community. You're this, you're that, you're this and that. And bringing in his personal life and throwing that under the bus. Which, once again, we're in a community of a video game. We play video games here. It ain't never gonna get that serious. I understand, you may say that you may not like a certain thing, but you don't go that far, especially when you don't know these people like that. Where you can't actually just say that you physically know somebody like that, where you are actually close with this person. I mean, there's a difference between seeing somebody at a tournament, hanging out with them for a day, than actually knowing the human being. Because I don't even really know this human being. I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus. I'm not even going to throw the person under the bus who I'm about to talk about. Because, when he was talking about the person from Georgia who got stuck and stranded, he went a little bit too far. I think he crossed a little bit of a boundary. And the person who got stranded got a little pissed off. So pissed off that he opened up a stream, vented for a while, and then started to say that his body began to hurt due to the venting. Now, at this juncture, if you are that stressed, that pissed off, and that angry that your body starts to hurt and shut down and have a migraine, first off, we need to stop all this. We play games here. We do not even need to go this far. This is for gaming here. When the juncture comes where no one's having fun and we're just treating this like World War III, like this is some real stuff, like we're in the UFC and somebody's got to die and someone's got to fight and we in physical pain, we need to can it. We need to just say, dial it back. Or bring it back, reel it with me now, and just say, whoa, hey, buddy, you need to calm down, because obviously it's not what's going to work right now. You need to just chill out, sit on the side for a little bit, and just brush your shoulders off, and then come back when you're rejuvenated and ready to play the game. Because that's what we do. We play games here. But the reason why I say the person who got stranded's moral compass is a bit off is because, once again, these people who have not been reimbursed, the people who have helped them time A and time B have not been reimbursed. But the person who was stranded, he decides to challenge someone to a $50 money match. But I think that's going to do it for me. Just leave you with that little moral illiteracy. I'll catch you guys later.